most of the time, when we have to set boundaries, it is with people we love, it is with people we care about. And healthy conflict is always a good thing. And boundaries aren't always comfortable, but you also have to remember that they are very relevant, very important, and very needed if you care about getting to the other side with this person that you care about. That's another way that boundaries are just valid. It's because they even strengthen bonds. People look at it like a thing that's going to throw you off, but if you really look at it, it strengthens bonds because you're brave enough to tell somebody and communicate and get across to them that if they want to stay in your life, if they want to maintain the connection, then there has to be changes and there has to be a mutual understanding of both being comfortable, you know? So when you voice what makes you comfortable, and if they can't do that, then adios. Hello, hello, hello. I am back again with another video, and today it's just on my heart to talk about boundaries, setting them, and really just the importance of values and knowing a lot of what you stand for, what you're going for, what you are not going for at a certain time in your life, when it's turning points and when you're just defining who you are. So we're gonna hop right in. If you are new here, my name is Danielle. This is the day today. I like to just talk a lot. I like to do my makeup. I like to just be myself a little bit and invite you all in. So I'm glad that you found me, and if you like it, you should stick around, watch, and see what I have coming in the future. Nothing too crazy, just want to get in, get out with recording this and talking and making my points. So let's really get into it because I personally have been through very niche situations in life. And what I mean by that is, although I'm still young, a lot of things have prepped me to be able to even make this video right now on why it's important to not only stand your ground, but not to feel bad when you do it. Big difference. And this is also applicable to multiple areas in life. You know, we have friends in our life, we have lovers, we have jobs and careers that we go to. We just have ways that we like to enjoy life, and they all play a part in how we are going to show up for ourselves and how we're going to attract what we want, who we want to be, and just what we allow. So for anybody who really knows me, they would know that I have a pretty close-knit circle, and the people that I'm close with, there's reasons why we're close. It's because we can pour into each other the correct way. We share the right amount of space for each other, because that even connects to a value of mine that I have, which is communication, which we'll get into. But it's almost like I have standards, certain standards for the way that I call for people to show up for me. And if people pretty much aren't able to do that, then it's really no reason for them to be around. And that's something I honestly had to learn is okay to even enforce, because I feel like we're oftentimes taught to tolerate a lot of things that we do not want to. And if you needed that reminder to know that you don't need to do that, here is your reminder, because I feel like I've needed those reminders a lot in life and growing up myself. And I'll elaborate a bit more on that too, but there's, I make like so much space for people that I care about in my life, and quality time is such an important thing to me. It's almost like if we're alive and you matter to me, why aren't we acting on this? Like, that's my whole that's kind of like one of my mindsets in life, and that manifests in the way that I just maintain relationships with people in life. So I've noticed that if people can't show up for me in the right way, I have to let them go. And it's no ifs, ands, or buts. And that's what, reflects on why I say I keep a pretty close knit circle in my life, because not everybody could step up to the plate, okay? We can't always expect people to really fall in line with what we enforce. And on the contrary, how this looks in the way that I abide by my boundaries is that if I'm wanting to communicate with people, if I set aside time for people and I don't get that back, they just can't be here with me. Like in my world that I'm creating. We often have to remember that we are creating worlds for ourselves, and these worlds can be whatever we want them to be. It's up to us just to stick to it, right? And one thing I've learned when different people define boundaries, something that has pretty much stuck with me is the fact that boundaries are for you. They are less about the other person, but it's really just about you and what you are saying no and yes to. And also how that's going to activate in the way that you live your life. So, kind of like how I was saying, what you are going to accept, what you are going to put your foot down on, when it turns back around and it shows up in your life again, it's like, what are you going to do? It's all depending on the choices you've made thus far. And even circling back to how boundaries manifest when it comes to love and dating, one thing I can't wrap my head around is why sometimes as women, it's common to like get mad at how not only a guy treats you, but if they can't, step up to the plate, if they can't be what you want them to be, and it's almost like you don't have to take it. You don't have to. You don't have to. If somebody, let's say you really enjoy dining out, if you're not going to these dinners, if you're not going to eat, it doesn't even have to be elaborate, but just if you're not getting that, exit out, right? That in itself is a boundary. Boundaries aren't always these drastic things. Again, boundaries are just how we are going to activate, how we are going to show up, how we are telling ourselves what it is and what it isn't. It's for you. It's not for anybody else, really. It's a you thing. If I tell my friend, hey, like, I enjoy hanging out with you, but I can't take it when every time we hang out it's gossip, it's negativity, that's a valid boundary, right? And oftentimes, most of the time, when we have to set boundaries, it is with people we love, it is with people we care about. And healthy conflict is always a good thing. And boundaries aren't always comfortable, but you also have to remember that they are very relevant, very important, and very needed if you care about getting to the other side with this person that you care about. That's another way that boundaries are just valid. It's because they even strengthen bonds. People look at it like a thing that's going to throw you off, but if you really look at it, it strengthens bonds because you're brave enough to tell somebody and communicate and get across to them that if they want to stay in your life, if they want to maintain the connection, then there has to be changes and there has to be a mutual understanding of both being comfortable. So when you voice what makes you comfortable, and if they can't do that, then adios. And like I just made the point, boundaries aren't always limited to just people, but also actions that we do and just the energy we have to exert in each day. So that may show up as jobs, working amongst other people, and just understanding the way you'd like to be respected, the way you'd like to be treated. I kind of remember a story at a time when I just really was in an environment of working amongst a lot of people. You have to just talk to a lot of people, greet them, make sure everything's all jolly. And I remember I approached somebody. I was really nice. I wanted to help them, and I don't know, they were having a bad day, and they also weren't really. I had to, as I helped them a bit more, I had to kind of just acknowledge like maybe they're not, all the way together the way that I thought. But with good intentions, I, took it upon myself to be the good-hearted person I am, and they kind of just were snapping a little bit at me for no reason. And I had a friend who, worked with me, and she literally just said to me, I'll never forget it. She's just like, you don't have to like service them at all, right? And I kind of paused because I was like, what, you're right. I don't have to, do I? So in that quick moment, it almost was just like a realization that's just like, what? I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do. We do not have to do anything we don't want to do. And the quicker that we understand that, the quicker we remember that, we will find ourselves back to the peace that we need in our lives, truly. And we also need to realize that the more that we put others' needs in place of our comfort, in place of our confidence, it just messes us up even more, and we don't want that. You should never be in a place where you are sacrificing yourself to make others happy. And again, when you understand what you stand for, when you understand your values, that is how you'll be able to communicate and stand on your own boundaries. That's also why I feel the need to bring this up from the perspective of a woman, because oftentimes we are the ones who are made out to be complacent to the point where we're compromising our own voice, our own needs, our own happiness, right? So I have many stories, People, I even notice this as I just notice this a lot with myself. Like sometimes it's as simple as if I just simply say no to things. I just was about to ball up and crumple the world just because I'm stating that I don't want to do something, or I don't want to, it's crazy to me that most of the times people just expect you to be so easygoing with things. And that's the thing too. I challenge whoever is watching this to really be firm on boundaries just as a social experiment, because you see just how much people are wired to think that you're going to go with anything. You see how people react. And most of the time, too, if you really want to get to the bottom of it, most of the time people will respect you more. You will notice people will have a certain respect for you if you're able to be firm about things, because not all the time are people, again, brave enough, strong enough to communicate and verbalize what does and doesn't work for them. And again, at my age, I do think that it's so important to start standing firmly on all of this now, because you don't want to go along in life just having to be challenged with things like this and articulating yourself and being okay with having boundaries, just like I said, later on in life. It's really something you want to develop early so that it does not trip you up later on when you may be faced with things that have higher stakes, I've seen enough life. I have not seen all of life, and I know that more and more comes along the more that you go. And I'm prepared for that. But, the sooner that you're able to transform into that firm woman, the sooner that you will be content in life, the sooner that you will find happiness, the sooner that you will find peace, the sooner that you will find understanding. And that is something I truly believe. And maybe sometimes it might trip you up when it comes to your boundaries. And this goes back to why I said boundaries and values go hand in hand. Maybe an activity for people who don't really know how to go about this is just simply sitting down and writing down just what is important to you. A lot of people, this goes over their heads, but just knowing what you do and do not care about. I say this to everybody. It could be so simple, because people even ask me all the time, like, And I'll simply tell them like, I just wanted to hang out, right? That matters a lot to me. So if it's not met or I can't find that, then boom, you know? So it could be the smallest thing, it could be the biggest thing, but what you have to do is identify it so that you are able to develop the things that you are willing to abide by and the things that you are not. This is also what I like to call the internal glow up, right? Because everybody always wants to work on glowing up and getting into all these kind of soft girl era, this and that. No, what you need to do is internally glow up and boost up and know who you are and who you ain't. That's the step number one to having the biggest glow up ever in life, you know? We have to focus on who we are and what we're pushing across and not voting on it either. Okay, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it, be it, and be okay with it. But I am happy to say though, I have been met with compliance when it comes to my boundaries. Like I said, I may have people who are surprised that I stand firm on things that I care about, but I've learned that again, people find a sense of respect when I'm able to communicate things that matter to me, when I am willing to walk away from things that no longer serve me, and also when I am willing to just say no to things that won't be well for me. And it's not always easy, right? Sometimes we do really want a certain outcome. We do really want a certain person in our life. We really do want to be in a certain environment. And you have to decide, is it going to be you or is it going to be your discomfort? Is it going to be, a compromise of your peace? You have to ask yourself that, because some people are okay with giving up, their dignity, with giving up their voice, with giving up their respect. But if it matters to you that much, you will be able to be in a place where you know your boundaries and you know your limits on certain things. Isn't it fun when you are beautiful on the inside and out? Catch what I'm saying here? But back to the point. So, the more you set boundaries, the more you may lose people, but that gives you more the opportunity to learn yourself and know yourself and know who you are on the inside, because that's really what matters the most out of this life. And don't sweat it if people do or don't drop like flies after you stand on business with them, because again, that just makes room for the people who are supposed to be there, and you will attract what you really desire deep down once you are learning more about yourself and more about who you are and what you want. And to whoever's watching this, I know it may sound silly. That's okay. I know it may sound silly. I know you might be laughing at me right now, but that's also the point I'm trying to make. It don't matter what it sound like or what it look like to other people. If it matters to you and you know that it's important to you, then it doesn't matter about what anybody else thinks or how they feel about it. This is your boundary, this is your life, and this is your peace. So as I wrap up and kind of make my closing statements, I just really want to build on the importance of setting our boundaries, knowing our values, and just being confident in who we are as we grow into great people, as we grow into confident women, and again, also not ever feeling bad about it, but standing in it, fully. So nobody can knock us down, nobody can tell us what we want, and nobody can make us feel like villains for doing what is right for us. That is so important as you go forward, and specifically me talking about this in this video and making it a point for just being a young woman navigating the world and growing up and getting into new phases in life. This is something that is extremely important, and it'll only get even more important as you move along in life and go through more things and meet more people and lose more people in life because of your boundaries and your values. Okay, I just did this lip combo. I'm pretty much done with the look. I'll probably just spray a little setting spray. I thank you for listening, and I also want to hear any stories of setting boundaries that any of you watching may have. Just leave me a comment. Let me know how boundary setting is for you, whether it's something that you find difficult or something that you find easy, whether you have lost people in your life over your boundaries, or whether it has helped you become a better person. I really do want to hear it because boundaries are so important to me. So I would like to see how different people deal with boundaries in their life, and also just to, connect with a lot of you more. I like to talk a little bit as I create videos and just know people on the other side are listening, watching me. And again, I'm always taking suggestions on anything I should talk about or any videos I should make in the future. So once again, thank you for watching. I hope that you would like to keep up with me and watch me another time. So if you feel called to, just leave me a like, leave me a comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.